All right, well, we'll get started here, guys. Again, want to thank everybody for coming. This is kind of a first for us as far as putting on a quote-unquote seminar outside of the office. We've been talking probably since June about, we should do something we can do for the community. What's something that maybe we could get some people together, something for the community, some education or something like that. And something that always kept coming up was fraud. And we see a lot of it, a lot of different situations. And so it was like, why don't we get some people together and see what we can do? And that's where the social center came in, and Diane was very welcoming for us, and that's why we're here today. So again, this is a first for us. We think we've got a good presentation here. We're going to go through some slides and stuff, and we welcome questions. If you have some, be sure and ask. We will have a time at the end, to address questions and things like that. I just want to introduce who we got here. My name's Kevin Lingenfelder. I'm president here in Plainview. I've been here 16 years. I've got Corby Forbes with me today. He's a loan officer. He's been with us 8 years. I've got Jody Paterna. She's a retail manager. She's been here 16 years as well. And then Julie Forbes. She's a personal banker. She's been with the bank 8 years total. Her first 3 were in Norfolk, and then she's been here in Plainview for 5. The rest of our staff, we have Jessica Stradley. You guys know Jessica. She is a personal banker as well. She had a commitment today. And then back at the bank, keeping that open today, is Jamie Norris. You guys know Jamie. She's a loan secretary, and she's been with us a long time. And Pam Yostin is back there. She's a loan secretary as well. And then Matt Stelling. You guys know Matt as well. That's our staff in Plainview. But yeah, we're excited to bring this to you guys today. And like I said, pass along a few things and see how it goes. So today's presentation will help you understand consumer fraud and scams, recognize the different types of scams to watch for warning signs of fraud, learn important prevention tips, and navigate steps to take if you become a victim of fraud. And also we'll review ways the bank can help you prevent fraud.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm Jody, and I'm going to kind of go through different types of scams to watch for. So I'll go through the different types of scams that we're seeing, and then Julie's going to kind of go through different tips and stuff to prevent these. So we'll kind of go through some examples here. There's telemarketing scams. These are like your fake charity calls, your prize or lottery scams, investment schemes. So this might look like, you get a letter in the mail with a check telling you to deposit that check at the bank. You've won this lottery that you didn't enter in. And you do that, and it tells you then you have to send, say, $5,000 to pay for the fees. What happens then is that check comes back fraudulent after you've already sent those $5,000 for the fees and you're out your money. So that's one of those. There's phishing and online scams. So this might be a fake email from a bank or a service provider, say you're, the telephone company or your Dish or something like that. Fraudulent websites and social media scams and Venmo scams. An example of a social media scam or a Venmo scam kind of going hand in hand. Say somebody, knows that you're in the market for looking for a puppy for your kids. What we've seen is then somebody hacks somebody's Facebook page, a friend of yours, and says, hey, I'm selling puppies, would you like one? And then, send me so much money to keep your puppy, as a deposit. And it is actually a scam. So they can hack people's Facebook pages and things like that too. So
I don't know if you guys have seen the word phishing before. It's kind of the practice of, kind of like fishing in a real sense. I mean, they're going out there, they're trying to catch you, is what they're trying to do. So that's why they kind of call it fishing in a sense, but they're trying to get you to click on a malicious link or something like that. So that's kind of what that term means in phishing.
I also wondered if everybody knew Venmo.
Oh, yes, Venmo is a person-to-person payment system that you can do on your phone or online. And identity theft scams, those would be social security misuse, stolen personal information, or credit card fraud or other use. Sometimes, you see all those things in the news about social security numbers being compromised and things, and so they would take your social security number and apply for credit cards, maybe get accounts in your name and things like that, so. Romance and friendship scams, this is one that we unfortunately see a lot of. They will use what you put out there on social media, or maybe get somebody in maybe a group you follow, maybe a grief counseling thing, or maybe you're into antiquing and you're following a group on Facebook, so people will infiltrate those groups and then kind of go from there and use what they know about you. And so it might be, emotional manipulation through those dating sites or social media platforms. They're reaching out to you and making a connection with you, and then all of a sudden it turns to, hey, I need some funds for this, or I've gotten into this great investment. You need to invest in this now, and that kind of thing. So. A big one we're also seeing is grandparent scams. These kind of come around, they evolve. That's the one thing about these scams, is that the fraudsters, as we call them, they're always evolving and taking these scams and kind of changing them a little bit. But they usually come back to these kind of basis. It's just maybe a little bit different. But the things that we're seeing with this is they'll call panicky saying that they're your grandchild and they've been in an accident, or they've been in trouble with the law and they need funds for bail money, or they need funds to pay a hospital bill or something like that. There are now computer generated software programs out there that can take just little parts of things that they see on social media, and they can take parts of their voice and make it sound just like they are calling you. So that's where you're going to want to verify, with your family, if they're okay and things. Call your grandchild on the phone number that you have instead of, talking to them on the phone here.
If they provide you a number, that is not the number to call. Call the number you've always called, their relative or something like that. Don't ever call the number they provide to you.
We see Medicare and health insurance fraud, so fake insurance offers coming in the mail. Billing for service fees or services that you never receive. You might get an email saying, hey, your account's gonna be billed for $500 for this, and you're like, I didn't have that done. Don't call the number that's on the email or the letter. Call the number on your bill, or if it's an insurance thing, call the number on your insurance card, okay? Call reputable sources from like a direct bill or a card. IRS and tax scams, threats of arrest for unpaid taxes, phishing claims, claiming to be IRS officials. We've even seen something like this where they're saying that they're an IRS official and you have unpaid taxes, or we've seen where they're saying that they're a police officer or someone with the IRS, that your account has been compromised and that they need your help in getting your funds back and tracking these fraudsters. So they tell you, take all your money out, and then you're supposed to take it to a certain location and put it in a safe deposit or a lock box. And then they're going to track your money. They're going to spend your money and track where these fraudsters are, and you'll get your money back. So that's kind of some things we've seen. When people have came in to talk to us, they are on the phone, threatening arrest, threatening, harm, to the people if they talk to the bank or talk to anyone about it. So that's what that might sound like. Another unfortunate big one is pop-up scams, so tech support scams. Pop-up scams, you'll get a pop-up on your computer saying, hey, your computer is unprotected, your antivirus software is expired, click here to get it. Then what you're going to see is you're going to get an email or maybe a phone call saying that, hey, the $500 charge for your antivirus is going to charge on such and such date, call this number if you have questions or if you need to cancel. So you call that number. Well, then what we've seen is then they say, okay, well, in order to refund you, I need you to click on this link and do a refund. And then they manipulate that refund to show that you did too much of a refund. And they say, you've got to pay us us back, you know, so instead of 500, they say you put like, say 5,000, and you've got to pay us back that difference, and this is how you're gonna do that, and that kind of thing. So, be suspicious of those things. Social media scams, fake giveaways, influencer scams, online dating fraud. Something that we're seeing with social media is great in a lot of ways. Say, you know, a business is trying to promote a new product or something like that, and they're gonna do a giveaway. So they say, you know, comment, or, you know, and then we'll pick from the comments, or maybe you post a picture of something and they kind of pick from there. The problem with that is then these fraudsters they'll go into those comments and they'll pose as that business and say, okay, click this link to enter into this giveaway. And then they ask for your email and your personal information. So always just make sure that you're following just what that business is doing and not clicking any of the links in the comments.
And those links will show up kind of like is a web address essentially. They might show up blue or something that's underlined. That's what they want you to click, so it'll take you right to the malicious link is what it's going to do. And that'll kind of grant them access over various things, and even sometimes control of your device. So the links will kind of show up like that. So that's kind of what the
Online shopping scams, fake online stores, non-delivery of purchased goods, counterfeit products. That is another one where we've seen where a lot of these online shopping things, they'll have you maybe enter your email address or something to purchase a product. And unfortunately, when you do that, then that also opens the door up for fraudsters to have access to your email address. So what we've seen is then you get a fake invoice to your email telling you, okay, here's where you go to pay this bill. You pay that, and then you get the real invoice. You know, so always, if you're going to do that online shopping, again, great avenues and everything. It's great that we have those available, but do a direct message with your email address instead of putting a comment on Facebook. I'm also going to cover some warning signs of fraud, some red flags of scams, unsolicited contact. So this could be a text, email, phone call, in person. Like I said, you know, you might get a text saying, hey, you've got this charge that's going to be coming through. Like you've got an Amazon purchase or a Walmart purchase of a large amount that's going to be coming through that you didn't make. That is going to be a warning sign that that's going to be a scam. Or pressure to act immediately, urgent. That is one thing that is what we see across the board with any type of scam or fraud is the need to act right now. You know, they'll say, okay, this is going to charge today unless you contact us, or you need to get this paid back today, or you're going to be arrested or, you know, fined or something like that. So they really put that urgency so you don't have time to stop, think, and react properly. Requests for personal information like social security numbers, bank accounts, or passwords. You know, if the bank's calling you, we know your information. We don't need to ask that. So that's where they might say, oh, we need your social security number to verify you. Or we need your bank account number to verify that. A legitimate place is going to have that information, so they're not going to need to verify that. Also, they're going to use more unconventional methods to do this, like gift cards, wire transfers, cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, if you aren't familiar with, is digital currency, so it's just online. And gift cards, what that might be is they might say, okay, you need to go buy, you know, $300 worth of gift cards, and then what you're doing is you're giving them the numbers on the back, and then they're promising something else, but you never get that, and they've already gotten that $300. Offers that sound too good to be true, you know, winning a lottery that you didn't enter, something like that, you know, we do unfortunately see that quite a bit. If you're getting emails, they might, what we call spoof somebody's email, but usually it's just a little bit off, you know, so it might come from, you know, Corby Forbes at like Midwest.bank, but it might be just a little bit spelling different, or Midwest.bank.com or something, you know, like with some extra spellings, like maybe an extra E or an extra S, you know, just a little bit different. And then what you'll find is there'll be some misspellings or some words that don't quite flow together right, you know. That's something to watch for. And they will use all kinds of emotional tactics. Like I said, they'll exploit your fear, trust, loneliness. So they will use, you know, information that they can find out on the internet, on social media platforms, that kind of thing. Learn things about you. and exploit what they can. Your grandchild, you know, you always love your grandchildren, you worry about them, so they will use whatever they can. Or, you know, you're a good person, you pay your bills, oh, you don't have this bill paid, that type of thing. Whatever they can use to get you to act without thinking is what they're gonna do.
The Nebraska nice, you know, that's why I gotta be careful, because there's people out there that like to take advantage of that.
Yes,
So,
yes.
be careful.
And then, like I said, the big thing is they'll threaten, you know, legal action, fines, or they'll promise unrealistic returns. You know, trying to get you to, you know, act quick and take action, so. And I'm gonna turn it over to Julie, she's gonna kind of talk to you about ways to prevent fraud.
All right, thank you, Jody. So what we'll start out is general prevention tips. The first one we're going to talk about is being skeptical of offers. Don't provide any information or make payments without verifying your legitimacy. Just don't trust anything if it just sounds too good. Just always research before making any decisions. Check the legitimacy of the companies or individuals, just like Jody had talked about. On anything on social media or anything, if you're online shopping, it's great, but they could tweak something to make it sound too good to be true. Take your time. Scammers often pressure people to make quick decisions and stop and think. They are very good about making everything sound very convincing and make you push yourself into something that may not be good. If you ever have questions, just always contact us or contact your bank because we're always here to help and we see these things a lot.
One thing I'll add with that is a lot of times they won't want you to hang up. They'll try and keep you on the phone so that you don't have time to hang up with them and call somebody, call the bank, call a trusted family member. So if you're getting the sense that they aren't letting you hang up, the best thing to do is hang up, okay? Because they'll try and keep you on the phone so that you don't have time to think or talk to somebody else about it.
They are experts at manipulation, so that's where, like Jody said, hang up the phone. There's never gonna be a case where you need to stay on the phone with them. Hang it up.
Yes, and then finally, don't share any personal information. Don't give out any social date of birth, any bank information, because they're always good at asking of like, well, where do you bank? Get your card information or your checking account number. Just don't do anything to rush into the situation. Telemarketing and phone safety. Using caller ID to screen calls. What we've run into is people saying that they're calling in as your sibling or a family friend, but they're actually a scammer on the other end. So just always be careful with who you're talking to on the phone. Hang up on those suspicious robocalls. Register your phone numbers with the National Do Not Call Registry. Use call blocking services or apps to reduce those unwanted calls. Just like those scammers, you can always block their number, delete it. Do not ever call them back because they are very persistent on wanting to get you to keep going into that scam. Verify legitimacy of calls by contacting the company directly through the official channels. So if you have that caller ID, they might be calling in as somebody for that. Report unwanted calls to your authorities. Always, yes, contact us to help you in the situation, but also the City of Plainview Police are also very good at helping you out and to research more into who is actually behind the phone. And remember, the bank will not call you and ask you for your personal information. We're here to help. We're not going to make anything harder for you. Online and email safety. Your password security is very important. We want you to use strong, unique passwords. Every account has their specifications, just like with your online banking. It tells you how many characters you have to have, uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, characters, things like that. And implement a password manager if necessary. And when you're using your passwords, and if that company, like the bank, would sometimes ask you to change your password, do not change it to Plainview 1, exclamation point, and then it tells you to change it to Plainview 2, exclamation point. Just always change something more than just what your password previously was and use different passwords for different things that you log into. And you can enable a two-factor authentication on accounts like your email, social media, and bank accounts. Something that we've recently added to our online banking with that logging in is adding that security code to send to your phone to call you for, or to send you that text message or possibly email. It's just very important to have that because they are always trying to get into your things. And say with your phone, if you log into mobile banking a lot and it tracks your location, so say you're always logging in here in Plainview or around Plainview and you travel out of state, it's gonna ask you for that code just to make sure it is actually you. So it is there to help. I know sometimes it can be inconvenient, but we're really there to help you out. Yep, and then update passwords regularly. Yeah, just change it to something else, and when you have those passwords, make sure you have different ones for those as well. Update your software regularly. Keep operating systems, browsers, and apps up to date to protect against your security vulnerabilities. It's very important to have those antivirus software on your computer. So make sure you just, always keep that up to date, and whatever pamphlet or information you're given for contact information, just always go back to that. Don't ever click on what Jody had talked about, like if it pops up on your computer saying it's expired, don't click on that because it's probably somebody else.
And guys, this is important too, updating your software. You probably see that on your phones where a software update is recommended. That can be a pain, you might get so many of them. However, these processors are so good at just continually evolving and adapting to all these new things, new technology. So that's where these companies like Apple and all of them have to, they have to keep these updates to keep on top of all that stuff. So that's why this is so important to make sure they have all the security measures in place on all your devices.
And then stay skeptical of links and attachments. Don't click on any unknown links or download attachments from suspicious emails. If you get an email, say you shop online a lot and somebody is posing as them, they're wanting you, this deal of like 30% off this item or something else to get a free item, please don't click on that. Just delete it and always call the company of where you actually shop at.
Or you could go, say it was a shopping deal and you were really interested in it. Just don't click the link in the email. Just go to that shopping site online and then look and see if that deal's available, thing like that. And don't click through the link, but actually go to the website.
Check the website URLs for authenticity before making online purchases or giving out personal information. And then now we'll review privacy settings. Just check your privacy settings on your social media platforms and apps to limit access to your personal information. Just like on your phone, sometimes if you log in onto a website, they may ask for your location or access to like your pictures. Just make sure you're very careful of what you are on, just to make sure that they don't have access to everything on your phone.
Like your social media, keep that to, it's best to keep those things like for your friends only, so that it's somebody that you're inviting to be your friend on social media versus like the public, because then those fraudsters have access to all of your information that you're putting out there on Facebook and stuff.
Those are good things for them to guess passwords and so forth too. So putting your grandkids' names, stuff like that out there, even on your own personal information, your date of birth, your address, then they have all the information that, then they can go ahead and try to send you stuff, be in that way, but then also, it's easier for them to guess passwords. If your pet name's out there, a lot of people put their pet names and so forth too. So that's a good tip on that too.
And lastly here, just additional tips, sending secure emails to send sensitive files. Whenever a customer requests to send bank statements to them via email, we always send that secure just to make sure nothing can get hacked into that email. And create backups and store them off of the network. Okay. And then protecting your personal and financial information. Shred those documents and discard them. You can keep your bank statements as long as you can, but whenever you're done with them, just always make sure to tear them up, shred them, just that way in case anybody ever were to get into anything, you just want to make sure it's safe. Keep your social security card, Medicare information, and other sensitive documents in a secure place. So keeping a safe at home, or we also have safe deposit boxes at the bank, which is also a very good place to keep it as well, because we're always going to identify you and know who you are when you're getting into your box, so we want to make sure that nobody else is getting into your personal information that you want to keep. Review bank statements and credit reports regularly to identify unauthorized transactions and check your accounts daily. If you do the online banking, it's very great to check your accounts just to make sure any purchases that you made, any checks you've written, and just also check like deposits as well that are coming into your account. Be cautious of sharing payment information online. Use your reputable and secure websites. Check your credit cards for fraud protection services available. Set alerts for purchases, all your credit cards and debit cards. Through our online banking, it's really great that we can set up alerts and you can customize those for like any deposits coming out, any checks written, debits. If your balance is even below say you want to keep $100 in your account at all times, if your balance goes below that, that's something that you can do as well. It's very nice to customize that to help you out with keeping track of your account. So if you don't want to log in every day, it lets you know that. Use peer-to-peer payment apps like Venmo cautiously to send money only to trusted individuals. Just like Jody had mentioned before, kind of with that puppy situation, you think you're talking to somebody you know, but it's actually somebody else behind the scenes. And then as soon as that money is gone, it is very hard to get back, and sometimes you just can't. Stay vigilant. Fraud is preventable. Just always be careful. If you have questions, just ask your friend, ask your family, call us. We're here to help. And then now we'll take it over to Corby and we'll talk about what you can do if you are a victim of fraud.
All right, thank you, Julie. So, Jody and Julie's touched on the type of scams and how to recognize them. So now we're going to kind of dive into here is kind of the steps to take if you are a victim of fraud. I guys just looked, it does show that 41% of Americans have encountered some type of fraud. So, I mean, it's essentially saying about half of us in here have been a victim of fraud of some sort. So this is kind of good to see what we can kind of do here. So yeah, the first step here is to contact, the bank. And I will say probably it needs to be an additional step before that is to contact the merchant. If it's a fraudulent transaction or something of that, or say it's an Amazon, you need to contact them first. And that's just because there is times when people forget, they made that transaction or somebody got a hold of their phone and did make that transaction, and so they didn't realize it was them. So the first thing to do is to, call Amazon and make sure, and then there's times where, they'll get that removed before we can do that. So then, yeah, contact us, then we can go ahead and see, the steps to take on that. But the biggest thing is to tell us exactly what happened, the full story. That way so we can educate not only ourselves, but you guys as well, and let you know. But it's good for you, but then that way we know that what that case was for other people as well to help them out too. So
And
it's
also
important we
to
know
know
that.
what steps we need to take, as a bank, to protect your information. If we don't have the full story that maybe they got onto your computer and your online banking might be compromised, we can't fix that. So make sure you tell the bank everything that happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be transparent and be honest with us. I mean, there's no reason to be embarrassed or anything like that. We see this stuff all the time. So just contact us and we're always there to help you. Okay. And then, yeah, of course, report it to the authorities. No matter what the level of fraud or scam was, make sure we let them know too, because they would be educated on this stuff. And like I said before, there's lots of new scams, lots of new frauds, stuff like that. So we just want to continue to be updated and refresh on all these new things coming out. So this is an important one too. There's the bad of technology, there's also a lot of good things too. So this is one of those things where you can place fraud alerts. And that's something Midwest Bank we have is there's this convenience where you can place fraud alerts on your phone and so forth there. But also this one's kind of focusing on your credit bureaus. So if there was identity, your identity was stolen or compromised, you can actually place a freeze on your credit report, on your credit bureau, so that way that there can't be new accounts or anything opened up under your information. So, and then Julie touched on this, but yeah, changing your passwords often, especially on the ones that are compromised. And like she said, don't be using the same password for all of your different accounts, because that way if they do figure out what that one password is, then they have access to all of your stuff. So just make sure you're changing your passwords often and keeping them strong. So okay, so there's kind of a list here, the resources for reporting. So this is on your handout if you reference it in the future too. But yeah, the Federal Trade Commission. And so this is what I talk about, what a link looks like. It's blue, it'll send you to a website here or an address. So But where you can see this one's a safe one is it says .gov on it. You know, .com technically isn't a safe website per se, but you know this one is a good one here, so it's a good resource for reporting there because it's .gov. There's Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It's another resource there. There's the BBB, which is the Better Business Bureau, for another resource. A couple more here that this one's specifically for identity theft, but it just helps you create a recovery plan, I guess, in place for that. So just so that way you know the steps you need to take if you are a victim of that. Then there's a toll-free number here for the National Fraud Information Center, and then yeah, of course, you know, Christy, like local law enforcement here, if you have, you know, if there's major stuff there as well. So. And of course, so yeah, how we can help protect you on that. So we have a great IT and operations team with the bank. They're continually monitoring all this stuff in the back scenes. So they're really good at monitoring all these different things that are going on the dark web or whatever it means. So that way we can get measures put in place as a bank to protect all of you. And we actually get internally too, like just in the Plainview location, weekly emails of new scams or whatever's going on. So like, you know, recently with the election going on and stuff, there was a lot of fraudsters trying to attack that. So we get updates weekly, and they kind of based off current events, so you think it's legitimate too. So yeah, of course they monitor for unusual activity, and there is the fraud protection too on that. So these fraud alerts, you can kind of customize them to whatever you prefer, but you can actually set up or customize it so that if anything goes through your account, you can get notified. If there's any check or debit that goes out of your account, it'll send you a text or an alert on your phone as well. So that way you know if there is something that goes through your account, you can set it off a balance. If you just wanted to alert you if it's over $1,000, you can do that. Or even you go as far as if your account was ever signed into, if your online banking was signed into, it'll send you a text and say somebody accessed your online banking. So that way you know if somebody did hold your credentials. So we do have this ID theft protection service as well that's on there. We have it's a seven. There's an individual and a family plan. We have the fraud protection service. And essentially, you go on there and you enter your personal information in there, and it monitors for you if there's anything. If there's a data breach from companies or whatever the case was, it will alert you and say that, hey, your information was exposed on this data breach, and it alerts you so that way you can know the next steps to take on that too. So we do have a brochure here as well you guys are welcome to take for our service that will monitor your account information for you and so forth. But there's an individual plan and a family plan. There's a $7 or $12 charge per month on that. So anymore, it's a couple candy bars, you know, so for a month. So to keep you protected. So and that's some additional things here. We do have in the bank we have limits set on all debit cards. Right now it defaults at $1,500 per day. So that's just a safety measure in place. So obviously if your debit card number does get compromised, that way they can't just go run rampant with it and spend all of your money in your account. So those, like I said, those limited to $1,500, but if there is a time where you do need that raised for a day, if you're gonna, you know, be spending $3,000, let us know. We can raise that, and then we will actually see when that goes through, so we can go ahead and get it lowered back down, or you guys can call us too and let us know that, hey, I made that purchase, so that way we can get it lowered back down right after that. So, yep, I kind of touched on this, but if there is unusual things to go through your account, it will alert you and let you know if there was something that went through that was significant. So, this is another one too. So, you know, we do have our fraud department that if they do recognize a transaction that looks suspicious, if it was out of country or whatever, it'll block that and it'll call you or text you and it'll say, was this actually you? And you'll reply yes or no on that, and we'll be notified of that as well, and we'll give you a call. But if it happens, you know, after hours, whatever the case is too, they will still do that. But if it's something where you thought, you know, I'm not sure on that, you can actually go out and freeze like your debit card so that it's not being able to be used anymore. So you can actually lock it, so that way if it's after hours and you can't contact us, you can go ahead and shut it down and then give us a call in the morning to get that taken care of. So you guys probably recently seen this, probably a couple months ago now, but we switched over to Midwest.bank. So what that was, before we were MidwestBank.com. What this does, it essentially certifies the bank that, we have provisions in place to be secure, so forth on that. But this is how you know that this is us, because it's going to be .bank rather than .com now. So you can kind of be aware of that too on all of our stuff. So, and also a new thing we rolled out here was the contactless debit cards. So essentially, rather than having to insert your card, you can go ahead and just tap the machines. You guys probably seen some of that, but that's more secure. And if you think about it, the convenience or speed is safer as well. So you think about it, before when you're having to insert your card into that machine, well, all the numbers are on front of the card, and that just sits there. So people can they can take a picture of that card, whatever it is, while it's sitting there being inserted. Now all the numbers are located on the back of the card, safer there. So when you touch it, there's really no exposure of your number there. And also, before you'd insert it, the machines would actually read your card number. Now there's just a chip in there that transfers that information from the card to the machine now too. So it's obviously more convenient, but it's also a lot more safe too.
And those tap cards, they create like a one-time number for that transaction. So that can't be reused again. So that's another benefit of those two.
Okay, well that kind of wraps it up, guys. We really appreciate all for coming. Feel free to ask any questions on any of that. Yeah, we really appreciate you coming. And yeah, there's also, our website, there's a lot of good stuff out there, blogs, articles, stuff you guys can read through to keep your guys self-informed, educated on kind of what's new and evolving out there too. Like I said, we're seeing this stuff all the time, but there's always new things out there, and so this is a good resource as well as our website out there.